Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
A recent study concludes that maternal influence is a leading factor in whether a child stays on at school or leaves. We explore maternal influence from conception to adulthood and also find out how mothers are managing. One of our social media fans, Maya Matthew, went to antenatal classes and says that the experience helped prepare her for handling her baby when it was born. But what other effects can antenatal classes have? We find out in this report from South Korea.
The art of Taegyo in practice. These South Korean expectant mothers are taking part in a class to give their babies the best possible start in life. Taegyo is a traditional Korean method of prenatal education. Its proponents say the gentle and soothing practices benefit the unborn child. Some have used it before.
I can say my child is relatively quiet and focused compared to other children of her age.
Taegyo is all about creating a tranquil environment to boost the baby's cerebral and emotional development. Yoga is a key element.
I practice yoga. I also listen to music a lot. I put on a CD as soon as I get home. I've also tried knitting, sewing, and other crafts.
According to Korean culture, the fetus is a human being in its own right, and the fetal environment has a huge influence on the baby's development. A well-known South Korean motto says 9 months of prenatal education are more valuable than 9 years of postnatal learning.
When the children who receive Taegyo talk to their mothers later, they easily make eye contact and have no major communication issues. They also have good speech skills.
Taegyo arrived from China in the 10th century, but since the 1980s, this ancient tradition has been practiced more in hospital classes than at home. At this clinic, Taegyo has been used by 80% of the 2,000 mothers who give birth here every year.
Korean people compete very hard. So many Korean mothers interested in education. So early education.
Korean education experts maintain children who've benefited from Taegyo exercises have better concentration and are more emotionally stable.
Depending on how the Taegyo is done, the child can be gentle, perky, or sensitive. I've heard from different mothers that the children who receive Taegyo are clearly more active and energetic.
Taegyo is growing in popularity beyond South Korea. Its gentle arts are particularly resonating with mothers in the US.
Humaira Bachal's work providing education for the children in her village is increasingly well known across Pakistan. But she also had to fight for an education. Let's find out how her mother helped change the course of her life.
At home, Humaira is still the dutiful daughter her family expects her to be. But outside, in Mawak Goth, on the outskirts of Karachi, she follows her own path. Her father wanted his daughter to get married. Humaira's mother wanted an education for her. For 3 years, mother and daughter kept Humaira's daytime activities a secret because, unbeknown to her father, Humaira was attending middle school.
Her father came home one day. I said to Humaira, "Go to school." He reacted angrily and said, "No, she will not go to school." I almost died inside. My daughter had studied for all her exams and had only one left. I told myself, by God, my daughter will study. I signaled to Humaira that her books were in the kitchen. I gave her 100 rupees and told her that while I distracted her father, she was to get her books and run.
While her mother wasn't particularly well educated, her family in Iran had been. All her mother's sisters had gone on to higher education. Humaira's mother worked hard so her daughters would have the same opportunity, and she paid the price.
My arm still hasn't healed. If I do any work, it swells up. I said I don't mind getting beaten up, but I will educate my daughters.
In Pakistan, the literacy rate is 58% and only 40% of girls complete primary education. Humaira wanted to pass on the opportunity she had and went door to door to explain the importance of education. In 2007, she founded the Dream Model Street School, which now has 22 teachers and around 1,000 students.
When I started this school, you couldn't find one girl in this community who'd finished her secondary education. But today there are up to 25 girls who've finished secondary school and have good jobs in hospitals, companies or factories. It's not a big difference, but it's not negligible either.
Female education in Pakistan has long been a controversial issue, and in some parts of the country there remains deep hostility to the idea that girls have equal entitlement to what is a basic right. Humaira is deeply grateful to her mother for the sacrifices she made to get her through school, and she's determined to convince others of the value of educating girls.
Is it ever too late to go back to school? We can all learn a lesson from this Spanish woman who decided to study journalism at the age of 77. And let's find out what her grandsons learned from her example too.
Carmen was 77 when she decided to go back to university and study journalism. She graduated 5 years later. It was the fulfillment of a childhood dream. She talked to Euronews about how she found the energy and the enthusiasm to go for it.
I wanted to study journalism since I was very young, but I couldn't because back in that time there were just a few women studying at the university. And probably my father wouldn't have been against it, but it wasn't usual for women to go to university, and that's why I didn't go. I was very sad after my husband's death. I talked to my grandson who had finished his studies at high school, and he didn't know what to do either. Then I told him that I had some regrets because I hadn't studied journalism. And he told me that he was also thinking about studying journalism. And I said, if you do it, I'll do it too. I would go to university every day, but even during my second year there were new students asking me, are you a professor? Are you the new maths professor? Are you the new literature professor? And I'd say, I'm just a student. They were really very surprised, but gradually I became just one of them. I'd like to say to people of my age or even younger who are alone, who are widows, listen, don't stay at home. First, try to study something if you can, and if not, try to explore the internet, because there is life and it can be motivating. Where there's life, there's hope. If you have energy, you have lots of possibilities. You have to take everything you can from life, because later you mightn't be able to do anything. But until that time comes, you have to keep on doing things.
Finally, we are waiting for your feedback on this topic. Let us know what you think on our social media pages. But for now, it is goodbye from me and all the Learning World team.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.